Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the mic with Mike. It is a premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. Appreciate you being here with me. Today, we're coming into you from the Common House. If you have not been to the Common House, make sure you come and check it out. It is the premier business location here in town in Richmond. 4 floors, rooftop bar, but the connections are invaluable. I mean, you will meet everybody who's here doing business, collaborating. So, On the Mic with Mike is the premier business radio program around. It's part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1 every day from 5 to 7, as well as The Choice 105.3 every day from 2 to 3, and then International Business Coach Radio on Saturday at 10 a.m. We're taking our talents global. Today, I always say we talk to the game changers who are out there. Today, it's a lady I ran into a couple of years back, but sometimes things take time to make it happen. With me, Sandee Smith. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Super duper. I'm here.
Good.
I'm talking to you. I always say this is a business show. We're going to start out with the elevator pitch. Then you got a really exciting event coming up.
I do.
Tell us who Sandee Smith is, and really quickly.
I am Sandee Smith. I'm a resident of the city of Richmond. I grew up in Jackson Ward. Now reside in Southside. But I've been a spearhead or advocate of sickle cell for more than 13 years. But the event that's happening on May 7th is the premier event where we fundraise for those who are dealing with or are patients of sickle cell within the service area of Kingsburg.
What was the impetus to start with sickle cell?
We kind of tapped into one of my sorors who worked with me back in 2008.
Okay, all right, so we got to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Which sorority are we talking?
We're talking about Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay, so all you Deltas out there, shout out to my sister Kaylee King Hill. She's one, Dr. Wilson, as well as Kim Martin, friends of the program. So yes. All the Deltas out there, kudos to you guys for all the great things you're doing. So you got into the business of saving the world with diabetes, sickle cell.
Sickle cell. I am a diabetic type 2. But
we're here talking about the United Ride for Sickle Cell. And yep. So how many years have you been doing this?
This is our 13th year.
13th year. But COVID had kind of put a damper on the last couple of years.
Yes. It had. It kind of silenced us or put us out of commission because this is not your ordinary charity event.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. We don't dress up and glam up. We do to some extent, but
it's with some. You guys rocking some leather.
We're rocking leather
and motorcycles. Okay, man. Now we've had this conversation off air, which was you and motorcycles. You said your father and mother were both bikers.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that right there.
Okay.
And how did that become the signature event for you?
Like I said, one of my sorority sisters who had moved down here from Baltimore worked with myself at the time at the Department of Social Services. And I didn't know at the time, but I came in one morning and she looked wore out. And I said, Courtney, what is going on? And she had told me that her youngest daughter had a crisis. And crisis is what sickle cell recalls or refers to when you're in this pain that you just can't imagine if anybody to go through. Can you imagine an 18-month-old baby going through? Because they can't really tell you what it is. So she came in today and told me she was in crisis. Last night she went to the emergency room. The doctors couldn't really help her child. So she's here today to pack up and go back to Baltimore where the doctors could help her. So that kind of triggered me to see what I can do to help. And I knew of my community of bike family because I was in a bike club. I started a bike club, Supreme Ladies Motorcycle Club back in 2001. And I knew the connection and how far of a reach that the bike community was for African Americans and all in general. So I called together my other soror, Community Clovia, and a friend at the time, Miss Sylvia Wall, Alexander Wall, and we said, what can we do? Now, Chloe assumed I can help you out on the radio and media.
Because if there's anybody who can make it happen, it's Chloe.
It's Chloe. So Chloe kind of spearhead and say, I'm gonna bring you in, we're gonna talk about it. At the time, Miss Sylvia was the mouth from South, I call her the mouth from the South. She just could elevate and push stuff out and get the word out.
I've never heard of her before.
Conversation for a later date, but
that is the conversation for a later date.
Yeah. So basically, we got together, came together, and we wanted to get the motorcycle community involved in sickle cell. Now, we didn't know how much of a grab it would be, but it took off. We got calls from those on our bike community saying, Sandee, my sister, my cousin, my friend. So it was like hitting 1 out of 4 almost bikers that knew somebody with sickle cell. So mind you, Mike, the first one came off without a hitch. The second one blew up, and then it resonated from there. So these bikers are not just coming from the city of Richmond. These bikers are coming from outside states, as far up as Boston, as far down as Florida, over to the Eastern Shore, and the push has been also to Texas. So they all gathered because this has been the largest fundraiser for sickle cell on the East Coast.
It's funny because back years ago, sickle cell was kind of like in the news a lot. And then it seemed to die down.
And we talked about that. We are a fundraiser. Our fundraiser is all encompasses in fundraising for the MCV Foundation for Sickle Cell. Now that MCV has its own sickle cell unit, it's much more needed now. And we talked about the need to what happened back in the early 70s when I first heard about it.
We used to hear about it a lot.
Yeah, and back then it used to come through the churches. The churches was spearheading and getting the word out about sickle cell. Now back then, we had a young lady, I call her young, she's about 86, 88 now. Her name is Miss Florence Cooper Neal Smith. And she is the mother of sickle cell. She started all this research at MCV, working on a couple doctors. Now there's a professorship named after her at MCV, and Dr. Wally Smith is the overseer of the research end of the MCV wing. We raised this money for three areas: research, hardship for financial individuals who may have to decide buy medicine or keep the lights on. In the supportive service end, we have homeless patients or residents of the city who have nowhere to go. They come in, get treatment at MCV, and they tend to hang around, and they found out they had nowhere to go. They were homeless. So our money that we raise is specifically for the area of service for MCV from Petersburg to Richmond and points out. So basically, we are adding to the message or educating our communities on sickle cell, the impact of sickle cell. When we came into this back in 2010, there were only one medication out there for sickle cell. Now we have 4.
So on the mic with Mike, ESPN Richmond, that's where we are. Coming to you from the Common House. Mike King, Sandee Smith is here. We're talking about the United Ride for Sickle Cell. When did you know you had something with the ride, that this fundraiser thing may work?
We found the second year in, because I was getting phone calls.
You knew you had something.
We had something. And it just impacted so many people. We started this ride in Petersburg.
Okay.
And we ride with a state police escort all the way up 301 North toward Richmond. And when they got to Second Baptist Church in the south side at 3300 Broadway, the bikers would, come up to me and say, Sam, that was an awesome ride. We appreciate you doing this. You just don't know what this means to me and my family. My sister had it. So it kind of blended and folded into this big event. So we just want to empower and keep it in the communities of our individuals that we know are impacted with this. Now, mind you, we're saying coming in that it was our disease, African Americans. But over time, you can be white, you can be Asian, you can be Greek. You can have this and not look like us.
And that's funny because we back in the day, we were always told it was ours.
Yeah.
We own that.
Right. It stems from Africa. It comes down the Mediterranean. You can be living in Asia and have this. Hispanics are sickle cell prone. So it has reached more than just the African American population. But for us here in Richmond, it looks like us majority of the time. So Dr. Wiley and his team and the work that they do in the community and all my bike community and Miss Clovia and all those involved, this is the event to come to, the Unity Ride for Sickle Cell.
May the 7th, 2022. Okay, Mike King, Sandee Smith is here with us. For folks who are not in the biker world, and we see these big rides for charity, how do you make money? So the people pay entry fees to come and ride? Yes. Is that how it works?
Entry fee, donations, sponsorships.
Okay.
So the majority of the funding actually comes from the bikers, because there's a $30 registration fee. And you can either go on Eventbrite under Unity Ride for Sickle Cell 2022, it pops up. And you can register there, pay your entry fee, take it on. If you wanted to also make a donation, you can go into the same link, make a donation, or you can make a donation through the MCV Foundation / Unity Ride for Sickle Cell. That money goes direct. All this money is going directly to MCV Foundation for Sickle Cell.
So that's how these bike rides for charities work.
That's how ours work.
Okay.
So I'm not sure about everybody else, but we raise funding every dime outside of paying for the miscellaneous stuff.
Okay.
The bulk of the money goes to MCV Foundation.
All righty, on the mic with Mike, Sandee Smith is here with us, coming to you from the Common House. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network. Make sure you get down to the Common House. If you haven't been here, it is the premier co-working space around. So Sandee, you guys are rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And you're going and things are moving on. You understand how to put this thing on. You've done it for some years, that it runs without a hitch, and then COVID hits.
Yes.
What did that do to you guys then?
It kind of took the wind out of the sail, because we start planning every year in the fall. So around October, I'm putting the pieces back together. Top of January, it's time for me to drop the information to our sponsors, to the bike world, everybody. And then we find out on March 19th, when I found out, because my office business closed. Everything went into
okay.
So we seeked out we have a Unity Ride for Sickle Cell page on Facebook. So we dropped the information there saying, due to COVID and all the restraints, there's no way we can have this and make this happen. If you choose to want to continue to donate, you can.
So you had a couple of years that were reduced because of
how
many people came out?
2020 we didn't do the ride. 2021 last year we came back, but we had to make some adjustments to the event because of COVID. The event is an outside event, so but we had to. The churches were on lockdown for COVID, because it starts at one church, Zion Baptist in Petersburg,
and ends at another church.
Ends at another church.
The churches are closed.
Exactly. So we had to make the adjustments to the church, to the ride last year, to run it from Steel Horse Harley on Hall to Pop's Bar and Grill off of Miloto in South Richmond.
Not long enough for your bike.
Not long. It was a ride. It was about 10 miles, as opposed to the 21 and a half from Petersburg to Richmond up 301. So it gave those who were itching to get back on that bike to say, okay, we had it and we did it. So, but going back to the original plan is what we are doing this year. We're going back to Petersburg, we're going back to Zion Baptist, and we have our supporters as the Virginia State Police to assist us to make sure there is a safe ride from point A to point B.
Here you go, Mike King, Sandee Smith is here. So, so as people say, this is a business show and we live off of sponsorships. You want to show some love to your sponsors?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, we got to show some love. Go ahead, man.
Shout out to MCV Foundation, Second Baptist Church in South Richmond, 3300 Broad Rock Boulevard, Pastor Ralph Hodge, Zion Baptist Church in Petersburg at 225 Bryan Street. Reverend Pastor Shannon is at that church. I want to shout out to the Petersburg committee there, the council people, our first African-American fire chief.
I had Chief Watkins on a couple weeks ago.
Tina Watkins, she's the first in Virginia. not just
When she told me, oh,
Petersburg.
you know what? She's a runner too.
Yeah.
She told me she ran track.
Yeah, yeah.
And she looked like she still
Her
could run.
mom's a swimmer.
There you go. See, that's how them DSTs,
Yeah.
they'll drop it in there in
Yeah,
a minute to let you know.
So,
I see you rocking your gear too.
Yeah, you know, I always have to represent.
I hear you.
Sickle cell was at the time, and it still is prevalent with duct signal data, but it was one of our national initiatives.
Gotcha.
About 2 years ago, they decided to pull back and call one, but it will always be in my system and will always be a part of what I do.
On the mic with Mike. Really quickly, how can people find information on United Ride for Sickle Cell once again?
The Unity Ride for Sickle Cell. If you want to contact me for more information, I can send you information. My number is 804-400-5473. 804-400-5473. You can reach out at our social media page at Unity Ride for Sickle Cell, FOR Sickle Cell.
All right. Sandee is back with us. She's going to come back, so we're going to talk to her over at the Choice as well, and we're going to have her back, get updates again with her over on ESPN. So you're going to be hearing more from her. I'd like to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All righty, thanks now. Ladies and gentlemen, on the mic with Mike. We will be back shortly. Thanks now. Take care.